have been here in front of Emmanuel AME Church for a few hours now. One thing that I'm noticing is that the crowd is just continuing to grow. It was very emotional for Mr. Davis, as it has been for so many people that we've seen. She was livid because she started getting texts from her daughter not long after she got on the bus here at this bus stop. They actually went to a building that was really close to the one that actually caught on fire, but then had to stand by and watch as the condo with all of his stuff inside went up in flames. One man specifically told me he heard one shot. This was emotional on both sides. Callahan was charged with careless driving. This is where that search has been concentrated. The victim and the suspect, the man arrested, actually knew each other because they were buying and selling drugs to and from each other. We're told that they were found here with no clothes on. When the governor was here in front of Emmanuel AME, she said that at this point he is in the hands of the criminal justice system. You came out here really early this morning. What made you want to come out?
Actually, I was woke up to take my dog out.
It really showed her how much this is impacting the community. All the administrators were in on this surprise. They said they wanted to make the moment Giovanni saw his dad unforgettable. So many people out and about just enjoying one spot, even though the mass doesn't start here for a couple of hours. She got here at 2:15 because she says she's so excited about Trader Joe's coming here to Jacksonville. They are definitely starting to gather, and you can really feel a sense of excitement here. People getting into the celebration, also getting into costume. In just about 5 hours, the Jacksonville City Council will meet, and they could pass a pension reform bill that some say would help ease the $1.7 billion deficit that the city is now facing. Now, some city council members and police and fire pension board members just finished meeting. They were ironing out some of their differences. Channel 4's Jim Pickett was there, and he joins us live now from City Hall. So, Jim, do you really think this is going to pass? We are following a local breaking news alert on the west side this morning. According to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, a man showed up at St. Vincent's Hospital with a gunshot wound to his neck. And that breaking news alert is a hearing for Ruben Ebron, the main suspect in the disappearance of Lonzie Barton. It just wrapped up downtown. Cigarette is being blamed for a fire that destroyed a West Side home overnight. 2 women luckily were able to get out alive. And there were a handful of protesters outside of the courthouse. She's the mother of the missing 21-month-old Lonzie Barton. Channel 4's Liz Campbell is at that courthouse right now with an update. Liz? We're having some problems with that, but we'll get you updated because she is making that appearance. Remember, she was not charged initially, but then JSO charged her a few weeks later in connection with the disappearance for not being forthcoming and truthful with investigators when they asked her those questions. We are also hearing this afternoon from the city about the latest hurdle for Shad Khan's multi-million-dollar shipyard development. An environmental assessment of the 48-acre riverfront property turned up high levels of arsenic, lead, mercury, and all kinds of other toxins. Now changes could be necessary to make this development a reality. This morning, a $100,000 reward is being offered for 2 convicted murderers who escaped from a maximum security prison in New York. So forget coffee. Shoppers at one Target store, they could have more options for something to sip on while they're shopping. So they haven't responded to any of these inquiries about whether it's going to actually plan to install a bar in the store. Can you imagine, like up there where you have the Starbucks and the popcorn and a bar? Who thought this was a good idea?
I have no idea.
The American Association of Orthodontists, they just released this PSA. It's warning people about the dangers of trying to straighten your own teeth. So here's a video. There is nothing about this video that makes me want to try this. Because I think we live in a culture where you just go on YouTube. I want to learn how to do this. I want to learn how to do this. But aren't there limits?
Absolutely.
Can't learn everything on a YouTube video.
No, you cannot.
Oh, Kumasi, I don't want to be too bossy, but when I look at you, my eyes get glossy.
I love vegetarian food, and sometimes people are like, okay, how many veggies can I eat? I'm bored. But this does not look boring at all.
Not at all, actually. It's very healthy. You can eat that. It's wonderful.
What kind of flour is this that you can?
I'm not sure,
Just the
but
kind you eat, just put on the
just
salad.
eat it. And I have this wonderful dressing I've made with honey, olive oil. It's got green chili in it. I know
Okay,
it's
get ready. It's not that bad.
green chili, ginger.
Very easy to make.
So I know it's probably good because it's easy to make, but how else did you come up with this recipe?
Well, we just really wanted to make some fresh.
And I know you have the Leadership Week coming up even before school starts.
Yes.
And this is really cool because it's focused on these young men before they even get to class.
Absolutely. It's an idea that really came out of a conversation.
I want to ask you this because you have a really unique perspective, you know, being a sheriff, president of Edward Waters, which is in Northwest Jacksonville. And just this week, we've seen a lot of people expressing concern about crime in that area, especially with the shooting death of a 16-year-old in the area this week. What is your take on that, on the crime in the area and ways to combat it?
Well, you know...
Do you understand that fear that some people have of not wanting to come forward because they're afraid of what might happen to them?
Sure, I understand fully.
What it really comes down to is, it's just two people. It was an officer performing his job the way he was trained in the best way that he could.
So you don't think that race played a factor?
I don't think that plays played a factor.
So we're almost here. Is this something you've been thinking about, actually being at this spot?
Absolutely. I can't even believe that is the spot. I'm looking at all the flowers.
Well, we have been here in front of Emmanuel AME Church for a few hours now. One thing that I'm noticing is that the crowd is just continuing to grow and grow. I just actually spoke with one woman who came here because she told me that one of the victims was her friend, and she was here just thinking about her friend dying the way she did, and also thinking about the possibility that she could have been inside this church when that gunman came in. So just really hard for a lot of people to be here. At the same time, you also have people who didn't know anyone who was killed inside this church yesterday. They just wanted to be here to pay their respects, to come together as a community. But across everything, from everyone that I spoke with, there is just this sense of sadness and disbelief. This isn't how or why people usually gather at the steps of Emmanuel AME Church. There's no service this Thursday afternoon. Instead, people are here to pay their respects to 9 people who lost their lives here.
I can't believe it.
Crable, Washington saw the first police cars and ambulances come here Wednesday night, and today he came back. Those images still haunting.
I can't actually believe this happened in my city, blocks away from where I grew up, and in areas that I actually played. And I walked these streets for many years, you know, as a child.
Annette Holmes spent time at Emmanuel growing up, but that wasn't the only reason why what happened here Wednesday hit home.
My husband is also a pastor, and we were also in Bible study at the same time that they were, so it could have easily been our church that was struck with such evil.
It's not just people who have a connection to Charleston who are here.
And we love Charleston, and we come to pray a blessing over this city. No more violence to be heard in Jesus' name.
This group traveled from Canada. They gathered in a circle to pray for the families of the victims and for the city of Charleston, a city hurting with its people coming together for healing. They just thought, not again. They really know how devastating a loss like that can be. The friend I spoke with actually took care of Dustin's children after he was shot and killed. And they told me the worst part is knowing the person responsible, instead of being here, locked up in jail, they're still out there.
6 a.m. to 12 a.m. we were together every single day of our life. There was not one day we were apart until that awful night.
Bill Martell is talking about the night last year when Dustin Manerick, the man he considered family, died. Teens in a home across from Dustin's were having a CD release party, and witnesses say some of the teens started shooting. Dustin told them to calm down. That's when one of the teens fired, killing him.
We wait for him to drive by. We wait for him to pull up. We talk about him every day on our way home. Every single day of our lives, we talk about Dustin.
Standing next to Dustin's uncle in the shop where they all work together, Martell says the hardest part is the fact that police have made no arrest, even after interviewing multiple people at the party. Do you understand that fear that some people have of not wanting to come forward because they're afraid of what might happen to them?
Sure, I understand fully. But there's a right and a wrong. I could understand if Dustin did something wrong to make this happen, but he did nothing. He was shot by a coward in the back. You know, and he was a father of 2 and of 3, and had custody of 2 of his children, and now they're left in the loop wind because nobody will come clean.
He hopes that will soon change, and the person who killed Dustin will be brought to justice. What difference do you think an arrest would make for you and your family?
It would just give us closure. I mean, it really wouldn't change the way we feel, but it would give his family closure and my family closure, on top of friends too. And maybe it'll make people think of the repercussion of what they do.
Now, he admitted sometimes it's just really hard and they want to give up, but they say they keep pushing forward, keeping Dustin's name out there hoping one day that they will see justice. In the meantime, investigators still looking for more tips in Dustin's case. If you know anything, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. The number is 1-866-845-TIPS. Reporting live in downtown Jacksonville, Kumasi, Channel 4, the local station. So this is where it all went down. Plantation Oaks Elementary School. All the administrators were in on this surprise. They said they wanted to make the moment Giovanni saw his dad unforgettable.
Write down what your object is.
It was just a normal day at school for Giovanni Barreto until someone walked inside his third grade class and changed that. In just moments, Giovanni's shock turned to a smile. Then came tears of joy. The 8-year-old's dad, Lieutenant Francisco Barreto, had been on deployment in Africa since January with the U.S. Navy Reserve.
How did it feel when you saw your dad coming inside your classroom today?
Excited.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
I thought I was going to come home and see him tomorrow.
His mom kept the secret, even letting Giovanni set up this welcome sign in their front yard. But instead, he got to see his dad here at school and show him off to all his classmates.
How was it to have your dad here in front of all your friends and your classmates?
Really excited.
Yeah, you talk about him all the time. You're proud of him. What do you think is so cool about what your dad does?
That he works in the USA and that he's a leader.
That's just one of the reasons why Lieutenant Barreto says he wanted to surprise his son here.
He's talking about me with his friends, so I want to take the time and do this so his friend can see me as well.
Does it snow in Africa?
No, it doesn't.
This reunion turned into a question and answer session for the lieutenant, with Giovanni's classmates asking him all kinds of questions about his service. Then they thanked him for that service in their own special way.
One. USA! One. USA!
Now Giovanni's looking forward to what life will be like with his dad back at home.
More exciting. So I could ride my bike and play basketball with him.
And Giovanni and his dad are going to be able to spend quite a bit of time together. Lieutenant Barreto does not have to be deployed for at least the next 3 years. In Oakleaf, Kumasi, Channel 4, the local station.
Oh, Kumasi!